Welcome back to Momestly Me. In today's video, I'm going to do my intro for getting ready to send Oliver to school for the first time. So I think I've talked about it on the channel before. Rick, my mother-in-law, Oliver's grandmother and grandfather, keep him on the couple days a week that Rick is at work and I'm at work as well. It worked out really great for a while. I may get flack for how honest I'm going to be. But that's kind of the whole point. I mean, it's in the name, right? So I'm just going to be honest. I would prefer that Oliver not be going to daycare. But unfortunately, I'm not one of those people that's lucky enough to have a very good relationship with their mother-in-law. And it is what it is. And it's not, I'm not going to go into fault or blame or whatever, but it is what it is. We do not have a good relationship. And a lot of times, unfortunately, that leads to toxicity, not on my side. So because of something that was made my mother-in-law upset, she decided to just not keep Oliver for 2 weeks. And the short version of all of that is it put me in a really bad place. It put Rick in a really bad place because I had to work from home, which does not work for my job. Rick had to call out a couple of times. Like it was a huge issue. So we sort of just decided, this inconsistency, all of the drama and the stress, it's not worth it. I'd rather be more worried about the money part than have to deal with all these other emotional elements. Plus, Oliver will be 4 next year. He'll be getting ready to go into pre-K, and then obviously kindergarten. And I just felt like, for my own sanity and for what I felt like was best for my son, we made the decision that we were going to start him in school. So Dawn's 2 boys go to a school, and she's had them both in the same one since they were like both 6 months old. So one is 6 and the other is 2.5. And so, and she loves it. She's never, it's just, I could go on and on about that, but it's a really great school. It's really close. It's very small, so that's, the student to teacher ratios are really, that's really good. And they are very like Montessori minded, and they're not a Montessori school, but they're very like child led. They believe in making children comfortable and letting children be heard, but also teaching them independence and how to self-regulate. And I think it seems to really align with the way that we are trying to raise our son. I picked out 3 places. I picked out this one and 2 more, based on reviews and things that I read online. And essentially, the other 2 were full, and this particular one had 1 spot left, and they were going to be able to fulfill like all the days that we needed. They didn't care that it was a rotating schedule. And I was really hoping for this one to be the one that worked out, because I already felt comfort with it, knowing that Dawn trusted her kids there, because she's not someone that just lets anybody around her kids. So that was very important to me. So we had our meeting where we got like a virtual tour, and we got to talk to the site director and all these things. And it just left me feeling like, like I asked about his lovey, and she told me that they absolutely would let him have it if he didn't want to give her up. He didn't have to. We talked about not letting him go hungry, because as I've mentioned before, he's a very picky eater not all of a sudden now, but it kind of came out of nowhere originally. I worry, like, I don't ever want my child to ever know what it feels like to be hungry, so I worried about that. So she walked me through what that looks like and all the options and stuff that they have, and that they were very hyper aware of eating habits for that reason, especially if they know that the child is potentially a picky eater, to the point that she said they'll take them to the pantry and let them pick out whatever they want to make sure they're getting something in while they're there. She was just very reassuring. She answered all my questions. She wanted to know about him and what he was like, and it was just such a great conversation. And the money part is really gonna hurt, but at the end of the day, I have felt so much better knowing that I'm almost at the end of this having to rely on my mother-in-law to keep him. And I feel very relieved that this worked out the way that it did, because I got to send him to the school I want. He can start, and he starts the beginning of August. Like, so I'm going to kind of do this in order. I'm probably going to do this. I'll probably do a video the night before he starts. I'll try to do a phone video, maybe dropping him off, and then I'll do like my afterthoughts. Um, because I think that people don't necessarily understand exactly what it feels like to be a mother that is leaving their child with someone that they don't know. And I'm not, I'm in a minority in the sense that not everybody gets an opportunity to know where they're sending their kid. Not everybody gets an opportunity to be able to find the best place to send them and make it work in such a great environment. And I'm very lucky for that, not only for that, but for the conveniences of how close it is. So I am so grateful for that. But yeah, I just thought that this is a hard transition for parents. I mean, you figure Oliver has not had to go to, and he's 3 years old, and he's never been in daycare, school, nothing. So this will be a first for the Kraus family. So I thought it made sense to do a video about it. So with that said, I will check back in a couple weeks when he starts. Right now I'm feeling very good. I expect the emotions will be a little more heightened a little bit closer to time, and then of course the day of, but I do feel a lot better, I think, than I would, one, if we hadn't found a place yet, because the sooner the better. And two, that this is somewhere that I know someone that I care a lot about, trust her kids. I mean, those things make me feel a lot better. So I'm excited to see what this brings us. A little sad that he couldn't get a dinosaur book bag, because they provide book bags, but I'm definitely going to put dinosaur letters on it if they let me. I hope so. Yeah, but the director was super helpful. She did a slow pan over the classroom. I got to sort of meet Oliver's teacher. She showed me what all the little circle time sections were, and showed me different pieces of the class, and walked me through their routine and the expectations. And she was asking me these questions about the things he had been exposed to craft wise, and if he knew his alphabet and those kind of things. And when I was telling her all the things that he's done and that he's had access to and that he knows, that he's learned, she goes, "It sounds like he's ready for school." And I was like, I don't like that. But yes, he is. And he's going to do great. I'm going to do great. We're going to be, so much better off. And so I'm grateful, and I'm kind of, I'm anxious to see what it does for our family, because I think it's going to be a really good move. So we'll see how much this changes in the next part that you see. So here we are. First day of school. Can you say first day of school?
No.
Can you say hello?
No.
How about good morning?
No.
How about
No.
see how this goes. So we made it to school. We're waiting on Dawn to get here because we feel like it would be an easier transition if he saw Marshall and Vinny going in. So we're waiting on them. Is that funny?
That's on me.
It was on you. Let me see.
It is on me.
It is on you. I haven't broken down yet. We'll see how it goes. So I don't get more real than this. This is in my dish clothes, sweaty from doing laundry and cleaning up my son's room and doing bedtime, and haven't showered yet. Did manage to have dinner. Broke out crazy from stress, lack of sleep. My intention was to do some check-in videos about the daycare situation before now, but nope. So this is gonna be some real shit. Yeah, so the first day went really well, because Dawn's sons Vinny and Marshall at that time are still going there. Vinny was there for Ollie's first 2 days, and then he went to the elementary school to start first grade. So the first day Oliver started, it was fine, because he saw Vinny, he went to play in the bubbles. Like, And then apparently he like asked where I was, and Vinny told him that I had left. And then the director told him, well, no, she'll be back. And he goes, yeah, she'll be back. And it wasn't a big deal. Day 2, he did not give a fuck that Vinny was there. He cried and was very upset. And the first day when I dropped him off and he was like, cool, I teared up a little, but I didn't fall apart. I just teared up a little bit. And I was like, okay. And then the second day when he cried, I think that was a lot harder. And then he missed 2 days because his schedule is only 3 days a week. So then he skipped 2 days and then he went back. And he cried again. So the following week he went 3 days in a row, and I think that was when I found like that he was like really adjusting. So the first week was a bit emotional for me. I was getting a lot of inconsistent reports about his day, which is really frustrating to me. I ended up having a call with the director and his teacher that Friday, because part of the thing is that I didn't expect him to just nail everything. Kids take time to adjust. Every kid is different. I had no idea going into this what it was going to be like. But the problem I had was that I was not getting updates, which was part of the reason I wanted him to go to the school I wanted him to go to, because they were, as far as, what Dawn was receiving for both of her kids, she was getting pictures and updates on potty breaks, meal breaks, nap times, and everything was pretty accurate as far as we know. And I wasn't getting any updates. And then the updates that I did get, I was finding out were incorrect. And that really started to get under my skin, because I need to know how his day is doing. I need to know what he's eating, if he's eating. I need to know if he took a nap. I need to know how the potty. And I had concerns about all 3 of those areas. I had a lot of concerns about the potty because he's not used to going to the potty with other people, especially other kids. So I wasn't sure how that was going to go. And I sent diapers for nap, but then like the first week they kept putting him in diapers instead of letting him use the potty, and I started getting really pissed off about that. And then the other thing that came up with the potty specifically was that he wanted to take Aya, his lovey, with him, and they wouldn't let him because of sanitation. Not that I don't understand it, but I was facing potty training regression, which to me is worse than spreading pee germs. I'm gonna be real honest with you. I understand they have to do what they have to do, but I was like, we had to figure something out, because he can't just not go to the potty there. And part of the thing that concerned me was he's hearing, you can't go here. And I was worried that was going to be an issue, because I don't fully expect a 3-year-old to understand, least of all one that's never been exposed to a school environment, that like you can't take your stuffed animal because of germs for other kids. Like, I don't expect him to understand that. And so that was something that came up. He wouldn't eat anything, which is pretty much what I expected. And he won't drink anything there. That was pretty much expected. And then he wasn't napping. He didn't nap for the first 2 weeks. He napped once in the first 2 weeks, I think. Yeah, so I was like, I need to know what he's adjusting to, what he's not adjusting to. And so the following week when he went 3 days in a row, the communication was a lot better, but I just messaged them every day at the end of the day and was like, how did he do today? And by the end of that second week, he was going potty like normal. He had even taken one nap. Still wasn't getting very far with the eating. That actually hasn't changed, and we've been in school for a month now. And he still isn't really eating anything there. He's a picky eater. I mean, it is what it is. I told them just to let me know when he doesn't eat, and I'll have to just compensate at home, make sure he eats before he goes, make sure he eats when he gets home. He eats a lot of the snacks, and he's eaten some of the meals, but not many. He's napping consistently. He's going potty consistently. He's opening up. He has a friend now. It took several weeks for him to adjust, and it's taken, just as long for me to adjust. And I'll be honest, I think I talked about this in my intro. It's been so long since I did it, I don't remember. But it's like financially, it's a struggle. And it sucks because I'm so used to like what our situation was that we're like having to readjust with him, and it's hard because, sorry, I thought Oliver got up or something. Yeah, it's hard because I feel like the reality is if he had gone to another daycare, it wouldn't have been as easy as it was, and it wasn't easy, if that makes sense. But because I trusted this place, because Dawn's kids have been going there for their whole lives, like I think it made such a huge difference, and I don't feel like I feel like it's worth the extra money to make sure he's somewhere that makes me comfortable too. And I've seen him come out of his shell a lot since he's been in school. He's was kind of a bit of a loner, didn't really wasn't super big fan of people he didn't know. He just kind of looked at you like you're crazy, but he's way more social now. Which, has its pros and cons. Obviously, we'll have to work with him on stranger danger as it is, but the good thing is I think it has helped him come out of his shell a lot. So this past weekend, Labor Day weekend, I had to take him to urgent care because he got an ear infection, because his doctor's office was going to be closed for 2 more days and I wasn't going to wait. And he did so much better at this doctor visit not feeling well than he did when we took him for his 3-year. And I absolutely think it's because he's learned to be more social and accepting of people he doesn't know necessarily. And it went really well, and he did such a great job. And it's fun because I've got my first pieces of artwork to hang up, and we've gotten into a routine. He likes to go. It took about 2.5-ish weeks, give or take, for the crying to stop, but now he just jumps out of the car. He's ready to go. There's a certain teacher he really, really likes, which I told Dawn I think is because she favors Dawn. I think that's kind of why he warmed up to her so much. But when she gets him out of the car, he doesn't even want to hug me. I was like, oh, see how it is. So he's doing really well, and his teacher made a point to tell me, I think it was 2 weeks ago now, that he was really warming up, that he's interacting a lot more with her as a teacher, a lot more with the kids. And he had said something one day about this kid named Thomas, and I was like, I didn't know what he was talking about. We were talking about his mask. They got him to wear a mask. I did not think that was going to happen, but it did, and he wears them. And then today we had a couple errands to run, so he was wearing a mask while we were out today. So grateful for that, because I hate taking him out with things being the way that they are. And but one day he was we were talking about his dinosaur mask, and we're talking about something, and he said something about Thomas, but I didn't know what he was talking about. So I went to pick him up the other day, and I was on the inside lane of the daycare, and there was another cart pulled on the outside, and Oliver comes out and he goes to get in the car, and then I hear him go, "That's Thomas." And I look and I see this other kid, and I was like, oh, I said, "That's Thomas," because I'd heard him mention Thomas before. And the director goes, "Yeah, they're friends in class." And I was like, "Oh, they are?" And the mom was like, "I've been wondering if he had made any friends. He hadn't said anything." And she goes, "They're really good friends." And then she told me last week when I picked him up that she said that she thinks one of the reasons they get along so well is because they're so similar. She was like, they just have such the sweetest personalities. And I was like, so he's a friend outside of people I forced on him. He's doing really well, though. Really well. His conversations have gotten even better than they already were, which they were really good to begin with. He's playing games, and he's processing things, and it's crazy seeing the little bit of difference in just a month. But it was the right decision. And I will tell you, in case you didn't watch the in-law video, I'll have Melinda put that up here. I have been at peace with the situation. My stress is not related to that. It's related to a whole bunch of other stuff, unnecessary stuff. But I am at peace with it. In fact, this is probably the most at peace I've been in my life since my in-laws started keeping Oliver. So worth every penny in that regard. Yeah, I mean, I've had some emotional moments. Sometimes he's funny because he still asks me every day if I'm coming back. I say, I'm coming back. I let Rick pick him up one day thinking he would think that was exciting. He did not think that was exciting. He was very upset. And I think I got really lucky going to one that I knew someone who had been going for a long time, but it was still pretty hard. The first week was really emotional and really stressful for me because I felt like I didn't know what was going on with my child. I wasn't getting accurate updates. I didn't know how he was feeling, what he was doing. One day we left the Levy in the car because he didn't realize that he wasn't holding her. And I was like, well, we'll try it, because they technically don't allow that, but I'd already told the director ahead of time that like he has to have it for right now. And he was in shambles before he even got in the building. And I spent the first half of my morning feeling like I had betrayed my child, because I was the one that said not to take her, and it devastated him. And they ended up having to give him something else to kind of calm him down. So I just let him take her now. They'll just, look, I pay a lot of money. They just got to deal with that stuffed animal. But yeah, we've only had one accident since the first 2 weeks. So in about a 3-week time frame, we've only had one accident. And he seems to really enjoy going. He doesn't fight me. He doesn't like to get dressed sometimes, but otherwise, and then like, there's these times where he comes out and he throws his arms around me and he's so happy to see me. And then for whatever reason tells me he's proud that I came back. So cute. He goes, "I'm so proud of you, Mommy. You came back." And listening to him talk about his day and having him be a part of this normal thing, it just feels really good. And I've been really happy with the overall results. I mean, the first couple weeks were very emotional and very hard, and I had a lot of like guilt and stress and frustration. But then it got a lot better. And the truth is, now that he's been going for about a month and I know that he's doing these other things, I don't need the updates as much, so I've kind of backed off driving them crazy by asking for stuff all the time. But yeah, I mean, that's my daycare video. It was exhausting and emotional. The first 2 weeks were really hard. And, but there's something, I don't know if this is going to make any sense. There's just something about having these normal things that a lot of families have that make me feel really good, if that makes sense. Like, the only thing I can think to compare it to is the other day. So Oliver's been kind of anti-blankets. He uses blankets when he hangs out in our bed, and he uses blankets when he's on the couch, but he does not use blankets in his bed when he goes to bed at night or when he takes naps. So all of a sudden, he's like super interested in having a blanket. So I got to tuck him in for the first time in his entire life, and I was so emotional and excited about that. And it's kind of similar, I guess, to like how I feel about the school thing. It's just this like normal thing that all families do, and we have a routine, and we have like, and I don't know, it just feels really good, and I'm really happy with it overall. I think that it was definitely the right decision, because I feel so good about it, and I haven't had to interact with my in-laws in a month. So happy. So that's been amazing. That's my daycare video. What were your experiences like when you had to send your child to daycare, if you had to? I was a daycare kid. I was in daycare until I was literally too old to go to daycare. And if they had allowed it older, I probably would have been there till I was 18. My parents got trust issues sometimes. But no, I was a product of daycare. I had to go to daycare in the summer because my parents both worked. On holidays or vacation, like spring break and stuff like that, I was in daycare. Sometimes I went to work with my mom, but not often, and I could never go to work with my dad because of what he did. But and I will say that it definitely opened me up to a lot of things, but I think primarily my biggest takeaway from daycare was respecting and appreciating what my parents did to provide for our family, because my parents made up for that time in other ways. And I think that, I think this was the best move for Oliver. He'll be more prepared for school this way, because he's going to be getting into pre-K next year after he turns 4, and then kindergarten and all these things, and he'll have that little bit of structure and that social time, and like just understanding what it's like to be in an organized classroom. And I think it's going to benefit him immensely, which was the top priority. It was the best decision for him. So anyway, leave a like if you like hearing about videos like this, about hard ass shit we go through. I try to remember all these positive thoughts when I see the money come out of our bank account, because I'm just like, oh God. Anyway, make sure to subscribe to the channel, hit the bell icon so you get notified when more content comes out. We're on the socials: Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, at Momestly. And that is it for this one. see you guys in the next one, I suppose. Whatever that is. I don't know what's next. I don't remember. Bye, moms.